We had some sick games yesterday. We had, of course, the Copenhagen Flames game going off. The absolutely sick Copenhagen Flames games against NIP, which means that NIP went through and Flames did not, which leaves us with this bracket, guys. Just to sum it up, right here, it's looking pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 Pickems correct. That's not bad. Going into this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Pickems correct. That's not too bad. That's alright. That's alright. Unlucky with Face. Didn't matter. Liquid, they sucked all the way through. And Gambit, they went through, but not 3-0. Anyway, stop interrupting me. Because what's going to happen now, guys, is that you're going to watch and witness the Diamond Pickems unfold right in front of you. We got 6 correct in the first stage. We got 6 correct in the second stage. Now, boys, we have the Pickems. We need 2 correct. We'll go for all 4, but we need 2 correct. We'll need 1 correct right here. We'll go for both, and we need 1 correct right here. Now, the first game, guys. Na'Vi against Vitality. That is, of course, going to be a banger. We got Na'Vi. We got Vitality. We got Gambit, we got Furia, we got G2 Esports, we got NIP, we got Heroic and Virtus Pro. We'll walk through each game and then analyze each game into the next one, into the next one, into the next one. So I'll give you as good as a ground for you guys to make your decision. Let's put it that way, okay? All right, Na'Vi against Vitality, Simple against Saivu. That is a banger of a matchup when it comes to the history between these two teams. There's no doubt when we look at this major isolated, Na'Vi should be in a much, much better form than Vitality right now. I think Vitality scraped their way all the way through the playoff. They didn't look good. They got a win against EG where they lost a map. You know, they were the only team to lose a map to EG. They lost a very close series against Astralis. And yesterday as well against Entropic, it wasn't as easy and maybe they would have liked it, right? Vitality are not looking sharp, but one player is looking sharp right now, and that is Saivu. And we know Saivu and we know Vitality have played a ton of close series against Na'Vi. So yes, it may seem very, very easy just to say Na'Vi, they're going to win the major, they're going to have, you know, Simple, Bit, Electronic playing well. But when you look at the history between these two teams and when you look at the context between these two teams, there's actually always close games between them, and Vitality have won quite a lot of those games. So it's not as easy. It's not as easy as you would like it to be right here. Na'Vi, of course, I expect them to win because they are coming into this major in the best shape I've seen them in a very long time. Bit playing well, Electronic playing well, Simple playing well. I don't believe Vitality is at a level right now where they can beat Na'Vi, but don't be fooled. Don't be fooled right here. It is not as easy as it looks. Not as easy as it looks. Which brings us to the next game. Gambit versus Furia. Now, that's interesting because, again, Gambit haven't necessarily looked too good, I would say, in this stage. Of course, they qualified 3-1. I think they were okay, you know, losing a game to Entropic. That happens. Outside of that, they looked solid in the best of 3 against NIP. But yeah, you don't sit back with the same feeling as you do with Na'Vi, right? Where they came in, they deliver, and you feel like, they're doing a good job. I'll say Furia as well have surprised a lot. Both of these teams are 3-1 teams right here. Furia have surprised a lot. They are this underdog. They started out the tournament by losing to Astralis and then went on to win 3 games in a row. Now, what doesn't speak in Furia's favor is that they are yet to face one of the top dogs, right? They're yet to face one of the big dogs, which Gambit would be considered as. But I do have this feeling that Furia, with the playstyle they have, you know, with Art, Vinny, Quesarado, Yuri for that matter as well, then Drop coming in as the rookie, like, they play in-your-face Counter-Strike. They play you Counter-Strike. They play aggressive Counter-Strike. And they do that to a high level. And when you're on a stage, when the pressure is on you, if you can deliver that kind of level on a stage, you can be a threat to a team like Gambit. So I would say, again, it may look easy. It may look super, super easy just to do Gambit. But there's a world where Furia is winning this game. That's all I'm saying. There's a world where Gambit didn't really show up to this major in the best shape and they won this game. Now, the reason why I'm going to put Gambit here is because of the AWP duel. It seems like Furia has integrated the AWP better into the game, but Shiro is playing well, and Shiro is a clutcher. Shiro is an ice-cold killer. When we get into the 1v1s, when we get into the 2v2s, and Shiro is alive for Gambit, I believe, despite it being on a stage, despite it being in front of 15,000 people, that Shiro will deliver. I will say this much. I think Furia have a chance of winning this game. I consider this to be a 60-40 in favor of Gambit. I wouldn't be surprised if Furia makes up the upset as per the reasons I just explained you. The aggressive, the explosive, the you in your face. The you in your face Counter-Strike. So be aware that this is not a gamble. This is my professional opinion, but I think it's going to be much, much closer than you didn't expect. G2 against NIP. that's going to be hard to call. I'm not going to lie. Coming into the major, we all had high expectations when it came to NIP. And I don't think they failed to deliver those expectations, because they lost the best of 3 to Na'Vi, which happens. They lost the best of 3 to Gambit, which can happen. Now, they won the 3 other games, but they had to fight tooth and nail to shut down Copenhagen Flames. Copenhagen Flames is not a bad Counter-Strike team at all. So it makes sense, I'd say, that they had to fight hard for it. It makes very much sense that they had to fight for it. But are they ready? Are they ready to take on the caliber of G2? Now, the thing with G2 is, right, history lesson right here. They came into the major. We had a big question mark surrounding these guys. We know how good they can be. We know how good Nico, Hunter, etc. can be. We also had the big question mark in Amanek. Amanek with the AWP in G2 has been very disappointing as of late. Just 3 weeks before the major started, they failed to qualify for Blast Royal Arena. Lost to Mad Lions. Not good at all. Amanek didn't have a great tournament. Now, the good thing about G2 so far in this tournament is that Amanek actually have been playing well. Amanek have been playing well. And if that continues, I think that's the full dimension. That's full circle right there. You have Hunter, you have Nico as the star players, you have Jax as the supportive element, the aggressive entry rifle. Nexa, I think, is solid. He's been playing well so far. And if Amanek can step it up, I see the G2 as a well-rounded team that could potentially go all the way into the major final. But it rides or dies with Amanek. Is he ready to go up against an AWP player of the caliber named Device? That's the question. Device is quality. Device is 3 times defending major champion, and he's now in the quarterfinals. Let alone NIP is the home crowd favorites. NIP is playing in front of a full stadium. They're playing in front of their home fans, and I bet you the Swedes will go absolutely crazy to cheer for these guys. So that's what I'm wondering. How much does that play into this game? Because if this was played online, let me put it this way. If this was played online, I would do this. I would do G2, they're going to beat NIP. Now, given that this is played at LAN, given that this is played in front of NIP's home crowd, given that it's against Device, 3-time defending major champions, and the big question mark in Amanek, I think it's a 50-50 in my book, right? I think a lot rather dies in the duel between Device and Amanek, right? I think that's where the biggest difference is between these two teams. Hampus as well have been absolutely killing it for NIP. Map pool wise as well, they do favor some of the same maps. And that's interesting. Now, there's one big problem with NIP as well, and that's the fact that Riz has not played well right now. Riz is also in a bit of a slump. He's had one good map, if I'm not mistaken, where he went off, and that was great to see. But outside of that, Riz is supposed to be a star player for NIP, and he hasn't delivered so far. I'm honestly not sure. I'm leaning towards NIP because of the home crowd favorite, but I'm also leaning towards G2 because I think quality-wise, when you look at the players on the team, in Nico, in Hunter, in Nexa, I mean, there's a lot of quality right there. No doubt G2 have the better players. They have the more raw skill. But who's the better team? All right, I think it's a tough one. I think it's a very tough one. I don't know what you guys in the chat are saying, like on YouTube as well. Like, please let me know in the comments below what you ended up doing right here if you picked NIP or G2. G2 have broken my heart so many times that I'm ready to give it up, man. I believe NIP with the home crowd. I believe NIP with the experience in Device, and I honestly, I want to believe. I really want to see G2 win this game. I really want to see G2 win this game, but I do not believe that G2 can beat NIP if Amanek is not playing well, and I have this feeling that Device will take over that duel. Now, then it rides to die a little bit with Riz. I think it's tough. I think it's a very tough one, man. We'll go with NIP. They must be motivated. Now, Heroic versus Virtus Pro. I think Heroic have played a great major so far. They started out slow in the first stage, had to break a sweat, but in the Legend stage, they only lost to Na'Vi in a best of 1. And if you just look by the scoreline, yes, Heroic went down 16-11. You're going to say,
Jacob, 16-11. Don't tell me that was a close game.
Well, homie, that was a close game. That was a very close game. That was an extremely close game. If you saw that game, I would say the NIP versus Flames game was easily the best series we had so far. The best of 1 we had so far was easily Heroic against Na'Vi. That was such a close game. Back and forth, clutches on Ancient. It was insane. Heroic are playing well, but they're going up against VP. And that's another problem, because VP has been the comeback kings of this tournament. Every single goddamn game they play, you can never count them out. You can never count VP out. I don't know what it is with VP, but you just cannot count them out. They're playing well, they're looking solid, and then they look like shit, and then they look solid again. They are, without a doubt, one of the most annoying teams to play against with their playstyle as well. They like to save a lot. They like to always drag out the tempo of a round. If you look out for it, Yikinda, this aggressive entry rifler, he's going for the duel, sometimes flanked up by Kickert. Then we go into a 3 versus 3 scenario, and all the tempo of the round is being dragged down. They go back, they reposition, and then they hit within the last 20 seconds. That is the VP style of playing Counter-Strike. I think that's a great fit for Heroic. I think they want to play the same way, but Heroic, they thrive super well by being aggressive. Heroic thrive super well by being proactive, especially on the CT side. You always see Heroic move around on the map. You always see 2 Heroic players try to gain map control on some area of the map, whether that's Ancient, Overpass, even Inferno for that matter. They're constantly moving, constantly proactive. Now, the problem for Heroic in this specific matchup is that against any other team out there, I would say that's the way to go. That's the way to play Counter-Strike. But when you face Virtus.pro, who are like the masters, they're the absolute masters of punishing those moves, we get into a problem. Because I would say Heroic has been the better playing team so far. But stylistically, when you have these 2 teams facing each other, and that's when we get into the hardcore, deep analysis right here, I think stylistically, Heroic's edge goes missing against a team like VP. And that's the problem right here. Map-wise, I think Heroic is strong. Map pool-wise, VP, they're Ancient. I mean, they'll have to play it, right? Against Heroic, most likely. They did a massive comeback against FaZe Clan. So that's interesting. I think it's tough. I think it's tough. I actually think it's very tough. Stylistically speaking, I'm leaning towards Virtus.pro. But playing-wise, I think Heroic have been the better team. I really think they've been the better team so far in the tournament. So, it's tough, man. It's tough. What are you guys having in chat? Twitch chat, YouTube? What like for Heroic VP? Which one are you picking here? I think it's tough. I think stylistically they could run into problems. Map pool wise, I think Heroic is slightly stronger because of Ancient. What's the direct punish pick from VP? I'm not sure, man. You know what? I'll call this as close to a 50-50 as absolutely possible. We'll go with VP. Simply down to the stylistic class right here. I think that Heroic will be punished for the proactive Counter-Strike by VP. We're going to the Na'Vi Gambit game. Those games always deliver, my friends. Those games always deliver. They always deliver. Na'Vi against Gambit. Last time these 2 teams faced was in a best of 3 where Gambit won it, and they won it in style. There's a context to every single game, and that was that both Na'Vi and Gambit in that game, it was the RMR qualifier for the CS region, had nothing to play for. There's nothing to play for, right? Pocket change money for both lineups. So that loss we cannot discredit, but we don't put it up to a high stake. In this tournament, no doubt Na'Vi have looked like the better team so far. Na'Vi have looked like a team who are ready to beat everyone. Everyone. Simple is looking sharp, Bit is looking sharp, Electronic is looking sharp. Now, the only question mark, I guess, that remains for Na'Vi is whether or not Bit, when it comes to the stage, when it comes to playing in front of 15,000 people and a couple of millions online as well, the rookie Bit, can he still deliver at the same extreme high level? I mean, I've seen nothing so far that suggests he wouldn't be able to, but that's the one single thing you can maybe point out. But that could be said about Gambit as well. They have a lot of players who's never played on the biggest of the biggest stage. So that argument is kind of leveled out right there. I think this game is going to be close if it happens regardless. But there's nothing in me that can justify not saying Na'Vi is going to win the tournament. I mean, I like to pick an upset. I like to find a good reasoning to pick an upset right here. But Na'Vi is looking so sharp right now that I expect him to beat Gambit. I expect it to be a close game. And honestly, I could very well be wrong. That leaves us with NIP and Virtus.pro. I'm not going to lie. I'm this close. Like, it could easily have been like this. It could easily look like this. I think the home crowd, I think G2, like G2, I have a personal thing with G2. They broke my heart so many times. Like, I believe in them so much. I believe this team have the potential. And now finally I see, like, this is also unfair in a way. Finally I see G2 deliver on all fronts. I see Amanik playing well. I see Nico play well. I see Hunter play well. And I still pick against him. If G2 is gonna break my heart one more time, you better clip this, guys. Please clip this. G2, I'm speaking directly to you, Carlos, general manager of G2. I'm speaking directly to you, Nico, Hunter, Nexa. I fucking love watching you guys play. I think you're one of the most skilled teams out there. You're one of the most fun and again, stylistically speaking, and when you watch Nico run around and we watch Hunter play, they are so good at the game. You can just see how they understand the game and how they feel the game on a different level. If you me up one more time, that's it. I'm never ever picking you guys in anything ever again. G2 versus Virtus.pro. G2 versus Virtus Pro. See, that changes the landscape a little bit, because I feel NIP would have a better chance with the style they play against a team like Virtus Pro, whereas feel for G2, you may think of G2 as an aggressive team. You may think of G2 as a team who's constantly pushing and constantly going for duels. They're actually quite defensive in the way they play Counter-Strike. Like, again, stylistically speaking, they will not be punished as much as Heroic will against VP, I feel, because they're good at sitting back. They're okay with holding sides. They're okay with relying on individuals, getting the double kill, getting the multi-kills on a map like Inferno, for an example. I would say if we had NIP, I'd probably favor Virtus Pro right here, but given that I sold out my soul and once again is ready to get my heart broken by G2, I think we're in a scenario right now where the G2 VP game could go towards G2. Map pool-wise as well, Vertigo is a problem for G2, and that will most likely be punished. Ancient is a problem for Virtus Pro. That could be punished as well. I'm curious about the map picks. I'm curious about where we go out on that one. But I think G2 will stand a great chance against VP. VP, and I haven't even said this to those of you who didn't watch Counter-Strike a couple of years ago, they were called Avantgarde 2 years ago at the Berlin Major. And they went all the way to the final where they lost to Astralis. They have major experience as well. They've been here before. They know what it takes. They've been on the stage. They stood for that pressure. Whereas for G2, I mean, it's a ride or die. I think I've done it now. I sold on my soul. Stylistically speaking, I think it's a good matchup. I think it will be a close game as well. But I'm going to go with G2. I'm going to go with G2 to go all the way to the final. I'm ready to get my heart broken. But I think, honestly, from an analytical point of view, the map pool-wise, both of these teams have a slight weakness in Ancient and Vertigo. Both of these teams are in a position right now where, like, they'll never get a better chance to win a major. Let's put it that way. That also leaves us with a final between Na'Vi and G2 Esports, and as you probably have noticed by now in this 20-minute long video, there's nothing that suggests to us that Na'Vi is not going to win the major. I would love to call the upset. I would love to say Saivu can shut down Simple and put Vitality in right here, but I simply don't believe it. I simply don't believe it. I would love to see Shiro and Hobbit and all those boys will give it to Na'Vi and put them up here, but I haven't seen anything at the tournament that makes me believe that. I think it's a possibility. I definitely think it's a possibility. But we haven't seen anything so far in this tournament that doesn't suggest to us that Na'Vi is going to win the major. So, that would be it. That would be my Pickems. That would be my Pickems. I think the biggest question mark for me, the game I look forward to the most, is the Heroic VP, because I think that's, like, I think Heroic is the better team. I really think Heroic have played better Counter-Strike. I think Heroic would have beat NIP. I think Heroic could potentially beat G2. I think Heroic would beat Furia. I think Heroic could beat Gambit. They will beat Vitality. But I think in this specific matchup, I really think that there's a problem for Heroic. And I'm curious to see if Heroic will change the way they play just a little bit in order to avoid getting punished by this slow playstyle and this, like, the best way I can say it is that Virtus Pro are always keeping the cards very close to their bodies, right? They will not show their opponents where they go before the very last moment. Is Heroic good enough to deal with that? Potentially, yes, I think they could, but I think VP will win. So this will be my Pickems. Furia can definitely make an upset. Vitality, like Saivu against Simple. You have G2 versus the home crowd in NIP. The stylistic clash between Heroic and Virtus Pro. Every single one of these games is containing a storyline that I want to pursue. I hope the analysts, and I'm sure the analysts as well, Yanko, Maniac, Blur, and Thorin, they are on top of this as well. They'll be there for you to guide you through it in a much longer segment, with much more detail, much more stats than I can do for you right now. But I'm telling you, every single one of these games is going to be an absolute banger. The major has delivered so far. We're moving into an arena with 15,000 plus people cheering and roaring for the favorite Counter-Strike team, and I for once have never been more excited about Counter-Strike. This is my Pickems, and I cannot wait for Thursday tomorrow. I cannot wait for these games to begin. That is it, guys.